Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. This is a surprise live stream. Basically, there's for some time there's been this sort of kind of controversy on the forums. There were players who were saying at some point that they couldn't do the Lantern missions because some evil players would grief them and basically stop them from completing their mission. I guess we're going to find out today. Some people were saying that it only happened since Game of Date 73. Other people would then claim that it always has been happening, that there's always people griefing them and stopping them from doing their Lantern missions. Uh, nah, I'm not going to join your group, Oblivion, but thank you. So since in the past I did these missions like I Phantom Ninja. I did these missions like a billion times in the past, and yes, there is some competition involved in doing those, but not to the point of saying that it's impossible to do those missions, like some people are claiming on the forum. Hi, Elijah. Welcome to this surprise live stream. So there's people who are claiming that since today, yes, but no, I've done it at least a few times in the past. Hey, Mr. Gamer or Mr. Gameplay. GOW, I suppose, or double V. So anyway, this is the first time I get the occasion of playing those missions with this character, or since Game of Date 73 actually. So let's see if it is as impossible as some people are claiming it to be. Oh, it's Go VV. Or Go W. Sadly, there's something that's been happening since Game Update 73. Is that a lot of people seems to have certain agendas, and sometimes they'll make claims. Go VV, that's fine. I got it. So there's a lot of people who are making some strange claims, let's say, on the forums that when you go in the actual game, it doesn't happen. There seems to be a disconnect between players, between what happens in the game and what people are claiming in the forum. Like right now, we have what seems to be at least two villains and a couple of heroes. There is sadly a competitive aspect to this universe online. Uh, the game developers are sadly somewhat encouraging competition over cooperation in this universe online. Although sometimes they seem to think that it's the same thing, not really. Like basically we have this little guy who's doing his missions. And as a hero, your mission is pretty much to defeat the evil Yellow Lanterns. And as you can see, he pretty much defeated all the Green Lanterns that were here. Like that. So I could keep on killing his Yellow Lanterns, and he could keep on killing the Green Lanterns. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just leave for a minute or two. Well, let's see if we can actually do the mission, even if the evil villain is here. Like you can see, the villain went to the other side of the building to click on his recruit. So sadly, even in PvE, there is some PvP component involved. There is some competition involved in the game. And it is like that by design. It is not an accident. It is not the evil players are trying to be mean. Although sometimes, yeah, there probably is that sometimes. But sadly, there are people who see that as some sort of healthy competition. And the devs seems to think so as well. I could probably stop our friend here from completing his mission. Not going to do that. So now the real challenge will be to try to keep those recruits alive with some evil villains nearby. I don't think I'll get the credit for this one, but we'll see. Well, I did videos about the past time capsules already, but yeah, if when there's going to be a new time capsule, I will make a video about that. For when the next time capsule will come out, we have conflicting information. Like, basically, thank you. Basically, there's people who think, like I kind of think that too, that we should get a new time capsule probably next week. Although maps did come out and say that we're not going to get a new time capsule next week. I was expecting to get a new time capsule with the Riddled with Crime DLC. Oh, okay, that's good to know. I guess I could try it with my multiverse character next time. So I was expecting a new time capsule with Riddled with Crime, because that's pretty much been the pattern we've seen for quite a while. Like, we had a new time capsule with Amazon Fury Part 3, then we had a new time capsule with the... Oh, I thought this was an NPC we could target. We had a new time capsule with the Anti-Monitor event, we had a new time capsule with the Starro event, we had a new time capsule with... what else? The Age of Justice event. So I expected a new time capsule with the Riddled with Crime event, or the Riddled with Crime DLC actually. But maps really did mention that it's not going to happen. So I guess we're gonna have to wait until next week and see what actually happens. There's also the Batman Day that's coming up. That could be another opportunity to get a new time capsule, but that's going to be next week also, I think. So yeah, Justice League Emblem in November would make some sense. Also, especially with the Earth 3 DLC. I've been playing DC Universe Online since game update, since it went free to play. When the game went free to play, I waited. Nah, I'd rather do it by myself. There's people who are pretty much claiming that these missions are impossible now with Game Update 73, so I'm trying to show that it's actually possible. Next week we should have the new DLC Riddled with Crime. But basically, when the game went free to play, I tried it. I waited at least two, if not 3 weeks before playing it, because I kind of expected that there would be a whole bunch of issues when the game just got released. So I waited a few weeks, then I finally gave it a try. Then after a few days, maybe a week, I purchased the Batman Legend character, which made me a premium player. And then I think I purchased the first DLC with the Green Lanterns. And then when the Flash DLC was going to be released, I toyed with the idea of purchasing it, and then decided to go with Legendary instead. And I've been Legendary pretty much ever since. Ah, thank you, Jeffrey. You're so sweet. See you later, Phantom Ninja. The video will be on YouTube after the live stream. Basically, whenever I do a live stream, after the live stream, YouTube processes the video, and then it's on YouTube forever. So you started about a year and a half after I did. So basically, I waited a few weeks. And then after, sorry about that. I waited a few weeks before I started to play. And then when I started to play, I played free to play for about a week. I played as a premium player for about 3 weeks, maybe a month. And then I went legendary and been legendary ever since. And I started playing on PS3, but then I had some friends who were playing on PC. So I ended up playing both on PC and PS3. The reason for that is that my PC wasn't very powerful at the time, so I couldn't really run. It was working well enough to run DC Universe Online, but it wasn't running it all that well. So whenever I would play solo, I would play on PS3. At the time, it was running DC Universe Online much better than my PC did. And when I wanted to play with my friends, I would play on PC. And then at some point, I had friends on both PC and PS3. So it became a matter of who I was going to play with. And I've been more or less alternating between PC and PS3, depending on the occasion. At some point when I upgraded my PC, holy crap, the game was running so smoothly that for about 6 months I played a lot more on PC than PS3. And then again, it became a matter of depending on who I was playing, depending on which character I wanted to play with. Oh, I didn't realize this was our Arkillo, so I think I should probably leave. Or die. No. That's what happens when you talk and don't pay attention. You end up fighting the evil Arkillo and don't realize it. Rockvar. I guess I'm gonna have to look it up. Don't think I've ever seen that one. I've seen people who've been saying that you should use rock powers for a Kryptonian because you have the ground pound ability. So you can pretty much punch the ground and a lot of debris fall over, and it's pretty much as if you're having super strength with your character. Although with ice, you have a somewhat similar ability. I'll show it to you in just a second. With ice, basically you have a lot of shields, although you probably have a few shields with... But with ice, there's this ability here that pretty much allows you to punch the ground as if you were Kryptonian as well. So I guess it's a matter of personal preferences. If you prefer ice, I'd say go with that. If you prefer earth, I'd say go with that. Yeah, a lot of people seem to prefer ice for for tanking because of the various shields. Although from what I understand, they've added shields to pretty much every tank powers now. I haven't tried them all, so I'm still basically I'm still trying out the various powers. So there was a lot of changes, and trying out all the powers and figuring out all the changes. It requires a lot of work, and I wasn't able to put that much time into the game, sadly. Well, there's a few rumors about the powers. One rumor is that there's not going to be new powers for a long time because PS3 cannot handle a new power. I have no idea if it's actually true or not. But yeah, it's been mentioned for a long time. I wasn't paying enough attention. Yeah, it's pretty much what they seems to try to homogenize the powers a bit more, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Like they're basically, if all the powers are the same, I guess it's easier to make them more balanced. But then again, if they're all the same, they end up all being the same. So what's the difference then between fire and ice if all the powers end up being the same? I guess we should be done here. Let's go. But when I started playing this universe online, basically the top content was tier 3. I have no idea if it's going to be out by before the end of the year. I can guarantee you that sooner or later there will be a new Batman emblem in the game. It's written in the sky. Odds are it will be in a new time capsule. So at some point they will most likely create a Batman-inspired time capsule or a Justice League time capsule with a whole bunch of emblems. Either way, we will have a new Batman emblem sooner or later. The only thing is, when are we going to get it? And the same with the Superman emblem or most of the emblems. And when I started playing DC Universe Online, basically the top tier was tier 3. Oh, no problem. And I could have sworn we could click on one of those at some point. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure what mission I done triggered. If you're wondering why I'm not grouping, basically, even if you don't group, you still get the credit for the shared credit most of the time. And too often, I've seen people who ask you to group, and then as soon as they're done with their part of the mission, they just leave you hanging dry and move on to the next part of their mission. So nowadays, I pretty much say no when someone wants to group. Yeah, nice. An actual Robin emblem would be nice. The R emblem works well enough. But sure, we could probably use more proper emblems. The Legion of Superheroes, I would love to see those. I'm a big fan of those characters. So having a proper Legion emblem, or even proper emblems for the individual character, like a proper Sunboy emblem or a proper Matter Eater Lad emblem, that would always be appreciated. Just give me a second, okay? Sorry about that. Lots of noise coming from the window. Yeah, Teen Titan time capsule would be awesome. Different alien races would be awesome too. There are ways to kind of recreate certain aliens within the character creation we have right now, or within the customizations we have right now. But it's a bit tricky sometimes, I'll admit it. Where's that coming from? Ah, come on. What would you like for a character creation? Sure, it's a bit annoying that sometimes there's certain styles that you can only get at high level. Although the more they add styles to the game, the less bad it is. Like for a long time, you could only get the Green Lantern emblem once you reached tier 5, and even then you had to grind to be able to get the tier 5 Green Lantern chest piece. But nowadays, you can get, as soon as you purchase the Green Lantern emblem from the broker, you can have a Green Lantern character. So depending on the situation, in some cases it's much better than it used to be. But yes, it's still fairly limited in certain aspects. I don't think we'll ever get new body type. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I strongly doubt that would ever happen. Maybe. Okay, so I seem to be glitched for some reason. No more new information, sadly. I guess we're gonna have to wait until next week or the next time capsule to get any real information about that. Guess I'm gonna have to log out and log back in. Let's see if that helps. So eons ago when I started playing, the top tier was tier 3, and the only DLC available at the time was the Green Lantern DLC. Although pretty quickly we got then the first Flash DLC, Lightning Strikes or something. They've talked about adding a lot of stuff over the years, but they sometimes it doesn't pan out. Like or even stuff they announced. At some point they had announced a new legend character, Gorilla Grodd. But then between the time when they announced it and the time that oh, there we go. Between the time that they announced it and today, a lot of things happened, and they pretty much gave up on legend characters in the meantime. So yes, there's a lot of stuff that they've mentioned over the years that sadly they'll never do after all. So I'm sure they had big plans for stuff like grappling or like you can tell by looking at this universe online. You can tell that the devs had pretty big ambitions. Like they made those huge maps with Gotham and Metropolis. But then it became a big problem to try to update those maps or make changes to those maps. Like basically the way the maps were made doesn't allow them to remove the bottles from the buildings. So we'll never be, unless they actually create a new Gotham map or a new Metropolis map, we're never going to be able to get the Brainiac buildings removed from those maps. Which is why when you see a new Metropolis map or a new Gotham map, they still have those freaking bottles. I guess dual powers could be fun, but I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what they actually end up doing. I guess they've pretty much opened the door to dual powers when they gave us legends that actually could use dual powers. They can't. They don't have the ability to do so. There's also the development team we have right now was not exactly the same as they had when they started making the game. Apparently, at some point there was a big shake-up, and a lot of people were they pretty much replaced their whole development team. There's a few key figures that stayed, like Spittle and a few others. But basically, at some point, we pretty much ended up with new game designers. It is. So there are things that the new designers either aren't capable to do, or just aren't willing to do, or don't have the resources to do, I should say. And removing the bottles, that's one of those things. There's also the races. Like at some point there was a bug or two with a few of the races, and instead of fixing the races, they just removed them, because apparently the new team didn't know how to fix the races or how to modify the races. So there are certain limitations that sadly prevents all the changes that need to be made to actually be made. Actually, Jen didn't leave. Or Jan, I should say, Jan Anderson. He didn't leave. He was promoted. He's now the head of all the Daybreak games, or something like that. Well, the problem with the new team is that, yeah, in theory, I guess it could help, but in practice, that if you get a new team, you need to train them, you need to get them up to speed on how things actually work. You need to invest also. Training people requires a lot of time and pretty much is costly. And training a whole team, that's even more costly. I guess you could probably do it just a few key players at a time, but that means that will only be viable in the long term. And even then, there's never any guarantee. Like, you could decide to train new people, and those people decide to leave for some other project, or even once you're done training them, they still cannot do it. There's a whole truckload of things to consider. That, yes, getting a new team maybe could fix a few issues, but it's not the magical solution that some might think or expect. So let's go inside and fight the evil Sinestro. I guess they don't have the resources to actually do underwater stuff. Like, we can see it with the water in DC Universe Online. There's only so much we can actually swim in the water. Like, we can sink a bit in the water, we can swim a bit in the water, but we can not go underwater. So there's no mechanic for going underwater and possibly maybe running out of breath or all that good stuff. So that, yeah, having some underwater missions could be fun, especially considering they just added water power. And I guarantee you we're going to see a whole lot of new Aquaman-related characters. But odds are they don't have what's required to be able to make that a reality. But sure, some underwater missions to go with our brand new Aquaman characters or Ocean Master characters. Yeah, those could be fun. But my guess is that the closest we'll come to some such missions is the Aquaman missions we get just before we reach level 30 in the game. Yeah, maybe someday we'll get this universe online too, but I wouldn't expect too much from that. Eons ago, when I was a bit younger than I am now, we had this awesome game called Baldur's Gate. Holy crap, I loved this game. And then we had Baldur's Gate 2, which was Baldur's Gate, but even better. An improved version of Baldur's Gate. And then we thought that things could only get better from there. The next Baldur's Gate would be even better. Like, we were waiting for Baldur's Gate 3, and then at some point a game called Neverwinter Nights was announced. And basically we expected Neverwinter Nights to be again an improved version of Baldur's Gate. We thought it'd be Baldur's Gate, but better with 3D graphics and all that. And sadly, that's not really what happened. Yes, it did have 3D graphics. In some instances, it was a bit better. Like, character creation was more complex and more detailed, which was much appreciated. But the story was pretty much garbage. Like, pretty much everything that made Baldur's Gate great disappeared in Neverwinter Nights. There's a few things that they actually did improve, but on a whole, the game fell really short compared to pretty much the previous installment. And then they tried to change it even more in Neverwinter Nights 2, but it didn't really work out. As far as game goes, it was okay, but compared to the previous games, it really fell short. So yes, hopefully future games, in theory, future games should improve on previous games, but that's not always the case. So sometimes things they see as an improvement, not really an improvement. I never saw that Aquaman game. Yeah, I hear a lot of good stuff about City of Heroes. I didn't play it myself. I heard a lot of good things about City of Heroes, but I remember the graphic were putting me off a bit. They had some nice bits, but there are some bits also that I didn't really like. So it was a mixed bag for me at the time, and also at the time I didn't really have that much free time to play video games. I think I was playing Lord of the Rings Online, and I had no time to play any other game. And basically, I switched from Lord of the Rings Online to DC Universe Online because there was like about a 6 months gap where I stopped pretty much playing Lord of the Rings Online because I didn't have any time anymore to actually play games. And then when DC Universe Online went free to play, gave it a try, and I ended up loving it and been playing it ever since. Although there's some times when I don't play it as much as some others. I tried Champions Online, and holy crap, I hated the look of that game, and also how clunky I thought the moving with the characters or even flying with the characters was really clunky. So I didn't like it at all. I'm not sure if it was better or worse than City of Heroes. Usually I fly around the room to avoid those spinning blades, but ooh, a new ring, just what we needed. So let's talk to our friend John Stewart. Well, I couldn't help but find champions clunky in many regards, so I don't know. Could be that I didn't try it properly. Quite possible. I went with the flying characters, and I have to admit I don't remember what the movement modes they had. I assume they had something like super speed and acrobat. Did they have more than that? So let's go back to Midtown and collect our reward. Not sure if maybe we're going to be level 30 by the time we get our reward. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so next week we will have the Riddle with Crime DLC. I think it's supposed to be launched on the 20th. I'm not sure when that. No, thank you. So by Wednesday we should get the new Riddle with Crime DNC. Oh, and Friday is the Batman Day. Ice slide. That must have been fun. Teleportation. In this universe online, we only have quantum tunneling that allows us to teleport, and holy crap, I love that ability. Sadly, seeing how the last movement we got was skimming, I don't think we should expect too much on that front. It's like the shield weapon. They gave us the shield weapon, and then it became pretty clear that we would never get a new weapon ever after that. My guess is that whatever money they made with the shield weapon wasn't worth all the trouble to make changes to the game.
Joker's clowns are attacking civilians in Burnley. Nightwing was the last one in, but he's held up in the East End station with the GCPD. Batman wants you to check in with him. He'll contact you on site.
Oh, that's a nice looking Batman. I'll give it a look. But sadly, I wouldn't get your hopes up for new movements in this universe online. My guess is we'll never get any new ones. I pretty much assume that whatever money and resources they have to invest in a new movement, like basically they need to create new animation, new pretty much all the way the movement works and all that. Oh, hi Elijah. Yeah, you got a nice looking character. That was fun. So basically, whatever resources they have to put in to create new animation and to make the whole thing match with the rest of the game, it's probably not worth it. Whatever sales they made from whatever movement token they were able to sell. Well, they do take inspiration from the comics and the movies from time to time. Like basically a lot of the stuff from the Blackest Night DLCs were or the War of Light DLCs were somewhat inspired by the comic, but they didn't take the storyline exactly as it was. They pretty much made it their own storylines. So I suspect that's pretty much what we'll get. Like if they ever make up a Court of Owls DLC, my guess is that it's going to be a lot different than the Court of Owls that we got in the comics, or even the Court of Owls that we got in the Gotham TV show. Just as the Court of Owls storyline we got in the Gotham TV show was much different than the actual storyline in the comics. So I'm sure they'll do more storylines inspired with the comics, but I have no doubt that even when they do use such storylines, they'll try to make them their own by making at least a couple of changes. Oh, I'm glad I was able to inspire you, Elijah. I don't think this game depends on the movies. This universe is a pretty strong brand, I would say, and I guess I'm a bit surprised sometimes at how much it's underutilized. I think because you have Superman, which is pretty much the most popular character and comic character ever. Like I know that it's tempted to think that Batman is more popular than Superman, seeing especially how the way they're represented in the comics. But Superman is known and popular all over the world. I guess so is Batman, but I'm pretty sure they sell a lot more Superman underwear than Batman, especially since they've had this weird idea of trying to turn Batman into almost an adult character. Like it's as if for a long time they've been embarrassed that kids liked Batman. They were trying to get their gritty, grim Batman, as opposed to a Batman that could be more family friendly. Well, obviously the best emblem for Batman is the Batman emblem, but personally I go with obviously if you don't have access to the Batman emblem, that's a problem. I would go with the Batwoman T-shirt that pretty much has a Batman Beyond emblem. Sadly, the best Batman emblem is on the Batman hoodie, which sadly is a hoodie, so you have the big pouch that gives you a big belly. Also, it's a hoodie that's pretty difficult to get from the vault. So in terms of emblems, what I usually ended up using when I didn't have the Batman emblem was the circled wing emblem. I would use it to reproduce basically the yellow oval, the Batman emblem with the yellow oval. Yeah, a lot of those storylines could work really well. I'm sure we could do that at some point. What's the combat rating of your character? In order to do that, I would log in with a character that has a similar combat rating. Sadly, right now you can't really get the Batman emblem. It's not true. You can get it if you get the Batwoman T-shirt. There is a Batman, more like a Batwoman emblem, but it's pretty much Batman Beyond emblem. I do have a video about the Batman emblem, so there is a few alternatives that I suggest in there if you don't have the official BVS Batman emblem. But yeah, personally, I was using the circled wing. I'm not sure if Supergirl has it. I don't think so. Nah. Ah, come on. But right now, the only options for an actual Batman emblem, either the Batman hoodie, which again is you have to wear a hoodie to use the emblem, the Batwoman T-shirt, or I forget the gear that the Batgirl is selling in the Watchtower. Yeah, the Future Crusader would work. Although the chest piece is a little expensive on the broker right now. A Speed Force Aura, I suppose that's possible. We got the negative Speed Force material. So I guess right now that's as close to that as we got. But sure, at some point I don't see why we couldn't have a Speed Force Aura at some point. It's only a matter of what the developers are willing to give us, and also what the developers are able to give us. Maybe there's some technical issues that prevent some such thing as a Speed Force Aura, or maybe they just don't want to dedicate manpower to getting such an aura. I have no idea. Obviously, if they ever do such a thing, odds are it will be in a time capsule. And sadly, in the latest time capsule, holy crap, they made the material and the aura way too rare. I opened quite a few time capsule, and I'm not even close to finishing one collection just yet. And I got, yeah, I'd say, burnt out of playing the broker after a while. So I guess I could play the broker to try to purchase the collections I'm missing, but I don't really want to right now. I've played the broker way too much to be able to get the cosmic material or the void material for a few characters. I'm not sure I want to play it some more right now. And I've been promising a broker video for quite some time. So I guess next time that's probably when I'll play it a bit. Yeah, they could make a Speed Force power. Again, it's always a matter of what they're willing to do, or what they decide to do, or what they're able to do. It's pretty much goes like that. Like one thing that people have been asking for a long time was like Kryptonian powers, which you can kind of reproduce in this Universe Online. Oh, the crackling would be awesome. But you again, you kind of get it from the negative Speed Force material. So that could, I guess that could kind of work, but again, the drawback is that you would have to use that material, so not the best option, I suppose. Well, I guess I'm done here. But yeah, more powers, more movements, more material. That will always be, or more auras. That will always be appreciated. But again, it usually comes down to what they're willing to give us. And right now, also, they seems to put new stuff mostly in time capsule because they can make money, more money with that than just adding those things in the game. Oh yeah. Yeah, the man bat trinket would be could be kind of fun. The only thing is how rare will it be? Like they've added a Starheart trinket for Alan Scott, for the Alan Scott Green Lantern, and basically it's just a reskin of the Orbital Strike, but they made it so rare that good luck trying to get it. Last I checked, you could buy it from the broker for 20 millions. Not sure if that's still the price or if it's more expensive now. So the Manbat trinket seems like a good idea, but how rare will it be? That will depend, I suppose. And there's also the backup that looks like a Manbat. Like there, you can summon three man bat type man bat looking backup. But from what I understand, that trinket will only be in the elite version of the of one of the missions of one of the raids. So and it'll probably be a rare item. So good luck. Good luck trying to get that. I understand that they're probably doing that so that people will use replays to replay the raid over and over to be able to get that trinket. But it means that it'll be pretty difficult to. I understood what you meant about the lightning aura, but it always depends on what the devs are willing to give us or are able to give us. Maybe there's some maybe they can give it to us in the movement mode, but somehow cannot make it into an aura for some technical reason. No idea. It's 30 million right now. I'm not surprised. I opened. I must have opened at least 100, well, probably more than that. And I didn't see that trinket. So time capsules, in theory, is a good idea for them to make some extra money. The sad part is that they get a little too greedy and they're trying to squeeze more and more money out of our pockets. So they made certain things in the time capsule uber rare. So that you'll have to open, I don't know, thousands of those time capsules before you actually get what you want, which is a bit sad, sadly. Not sure why they can't be reasonable and just get us to pay. You would figure that by the time someone buys 100 time capsule, they would have completed at least one collection, but not really. I guess spending $100 is still not enough. You have to spend more. That's the one thing that makes it difficult sometimes to defend the decisions that the devs do. Like obviously they need to make money for the game to be able to continue. But sometimes it's as if it's never enough money. And at some point it's pretty hard to try to defend them. When they, I guess when they push it all too far, it's kind of hard to justify the kind of money they seem to expect people to spend on this game. Right now I'm on PS4, yes. Yeah, an Alfred-based totem could be fun, I suppose. Nah, the logbox are pretty much done with. The problem with the logbox is that if you're a legendary player, they're not going to make money off of you. As opposed to the time capsules, everyone, even legendary player, needs to pay to open those time capsules. Yes, you do get some free stabilizers, but it's nowhere near enough. All the tall boots are pretty much Superman boots, so that technically we do have some Superman boots already. Well, Superman boots, basically, unless you mean the Stalwart Defender boots, the tall boots pretty much do the trick for a Superman character. They're basically, they're not official Superman boots, but they basically look like the official Superman boots. So let's see, we got a few new things. Oh. So let's see what's in the box. I'll upgrade to our weapon. That's nice. And let's see what's in our time capsule, or in our Prometheum logbox. Oh well. My favorite DLC would probably be I guess it would be the Sons of Trigon. Yeah, the logbox should have the logbox should have been better thought of. But basically, the time capsule they pretty much come from Neverwinter. In Neverwinter, they have similar logboxes, and basically they drop. And before long, you have like hundreds of those boxes, and there's no way they give you one free key every day. Oh, the night. What you want to trade? So let's go fight the evil Deathstroke. I don't really have to, like basically we're level 30 by now, so I should technically be able to go back to the watchtower. Well, we're here already, so let's complete the mission. So next week, we should see a lot of that guy, which is a bit strange. It took them a long time before they finally gave us some Riddler DLC. Like, this mission was there pretty much when the game was first released. So it's strange that it took them only 5-6 years before they continued that storyline. But I can understand a bit. Basically, the Riddler probably has never been as popular as he is right now. In good part thanks to the Gotham TV show. So I guess they're trying to strike the iron while it's hot, or something like that. Uh, the legend missions are okay, I suppose. They were they weren't they weren't thought properly. They pretty much dropped the ball. Yeah, it was a missed opportunity, exactly. Yeah. I guess the biggest issue was restricting them to one legend, basically forcing you to play one legend character. And so if you don't like playing the legend, let's say Bizarro, well, tough luck. When you play the Bizarro mission, you have to play Bizarro. They should have made it so that you can pretty much use any characters. I understand that the way they did the storyline, like it, basically they gave us a Bizarro's origin. So yeah, it sort of kind of makes sense that they actually use Bizarro. But they could have given us another storyline for the legends and not force people to play Bizarro, and it would have worked just the same. And they actually had more legend missions planned. Like supposedly for one of the War of the Light DLC, they had a mission with Saint Walker, I think. But sadly, by then, people had pretty much voiced their dislike of the legend missions, and they gave up on that mission. Well, their plans originally was like around tier 4, or even by tier 5. They didn't want us to have solo missions anymore. They wanted to have only group missions. And I think eventually it would have been only 8-player missions. Uh, the basic logic behind that is that like using replays to reset an 8-player missions cost like 87 replays as opposed to 12 for a solo mission. And you get 8 players to reset said mission. So as the game would have evolved, we would have had less and less solo content, to the point where they would only have made group content. And they tried to come up with the legend as some sort of compromise to that. So basically, they wanted to still give us solo content as long as it was legend solo content. I guess it's easier to balance the mission at around one legend character, and so you have to balance it only with that one legend, with the powers that that one legend is using. So it probably makes it much easier on their end. But that means that if you want to play that mission, you have to use the one legend that they want you to use. Yeah, I guess we could have seen something like that. Well, let's assign our skill points before we talk to our friend the Riddler. So just a few more days, guys, and you're going to have that nice little hat that the Riddler was wearing. The Riddler hat with the question mark on it. Just 3 more days, and we'll have that. Oh, let's summon our little friend. Oh, let's go for the chest piece. Aw, Deathstroke is going away. I'm so sad now. So let's skip skip. I'm not sure if we got a new reward. No, I suppose not. So let's get out of here. I guess we're going to go see our friend Nightwing to complete the mission. I guess we could have seen more interactions with the mentors. I guess that's another missed opportunity. Although I suppose the whatever plans they had with the mentor didn't work as they thought it would. Let's go save that little lady. I didn't take the mission just yet, but why not? She was there. I'm not sure if I have that feat with this character. Let's check. Oh yeah. So by now we should have a nice red hood. 65 marks of victory. That's a little lower than I remembered. I seem to recall at some point I had 70 or 80 marks of victory at this point. Not a big deal. But there's still quite a few missions we just didn't do because we leveled up too fast. Too fast.
The international crime organization Intergang has created a new religion based on their so-called crime Bible. We need to shut down their operations before their cult spreads across Gotham. The question in Gotham's Diamond District Police Station.
Now let's grab those while we're here.
Anything in particular you're interested in purchasing today?
Oh, we got some new boots. So we do have a few things we didn't equip just yet. The boots are a bit better. Oh, they're going to mess it up a bit more soon. But yeah, they had a whole bunch of currency at first, and then they decided to simplify the currency, and it was a bit of a mess. Now they're going to try to change the currency once more. So I'm a bit. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how they actually change it. Sadly, the what's his name, Jack Astor or Jackster, I forget his actual name. He comes from Neverwinter, and in Neverwinter they have like a billion. The currency in Neverwinter is very convoluted. They have like a billion types of currency for a billion type of things, and it's not clearly indicated which currency is used for what. So I suspect that once they decide to change the currency, it's going to be very convoluted once more. But we're gonna have to wait and see how they actually do it. If they do it the same way as they seems to be doing it for endgame content right now, we'll have one currency for each DLC, and we'll have one currency like the Marks of Victory for, I don't know, everything else. So let's go to the Watchtower. Huh. So I guess we still have to finish all the storylines. Even though we're level 30, we don't have access to the final mission in the Watchtower just yet. I should have suspected as much. No, I wouldn't go. Already we have the scoreboard, which is a pretty bad thing for the game in my book. I'm not sure a leaderboard would be a good idea. So next time we'll talk to our friend the question, and we'll continue doing missions. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. Yeah, I wish they would bring back showing the styles in the Watchtower as well, but what can you do? So that's pretty much for now, guys. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being there for this surprise live stream. Wasn't expecting it to do one today, but maybe I'll do one more later tonight. I'll have to give it some thoughts. So thanks, guys, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Sorry, template. Time to go. Yeah, I should probably indicate basically what I'm going to try to do is that I'm going to try to do a live stream from Monday to Friday at 5. During the weekend, I'll probably do a few free live stream, like a few extra live stream like this one. I guess I have to figure out a way to be able to let you guys know ahead of time. Although, like, this was a spur of the moment. I had no idea until 5 minutes before I started playing that I would actually do a live stream. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to try to either warn you guys ahead of time. If not, once in a while, guys, just look if I'm there. There's this little thingy. There's like a bell you can click. I think. Great. Thank you, Jeffrey. There's a bell. A bell. I think you can click right next to subscribe if you're a subscriber. From what I understand, this bell is supposed to warn you when there's going to be new content. I have no idea if it actually works for live stream and how it works. I never used it myself. So I guess that could be an option. I'll try to come up with a solution so that you guys can know ahead of time when I'm going to be streaming. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So again, thanks, guys, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.